Hello and good afternoon. My name is Abdelhamid El-Zoheiry. I'm the president of the Euro-Mediterranean University here in Slovenia. And I am delighted to have the pleasure to moderate this very important session, which is the leaders panel with the title, Fueling the Creative Economy. First, I'd like to call in to the panel here my distinguished panelists. So I'd like to call to the panel Mr. Aleksandar Bogdanović, Minister of Culture of Montenegro. And I would also like to call Valdrin Ljuka, Minister of Economic Development of Kosovo. Please welcome His Excellency Mr. Khaled Al-Osaily, Minister of National Economy of Palestine. And Ms. Aida Riđanović, from the Euro-Mediterranean Forum Director from the Lindh Foundation. And Valbona Shujaku, Deputy Minister of Culture of Albania. Sorry. So we kept the two ladies last. Thank you very much for being here, all of you. And I think this topic of today's panel is very important, how to fuel this creative economy. It was, I think, very well explained during our opening speeches today that we are living in very special times. Today we're witnessing in the region of the Euro-Mediterranean region at large, the Southern Mediterranean, but also the Western Balkans, we're witnessing some very dynamic changes, political, social, and economic. There are a lot of times now is the time of uncertainty and instability. We've seen what happened in the Southern Mediterranean and still happening in the MEDA region. Also, the Western Balkans are struggling. There are economic challenges. The region has been witnessing wars and chaos for quite some time. We've seen also, and we are witnessing, the effects of the Industrial Revolution 4.0 and the digital transformation. I think these are two big challenges. Are robots going to replace humans in the job market? These are questions that are being asked. A few weeks ago, I had the pleasure of also joining in the Digital Transformation Conference organized by the Union for the Mediterranean in Estonia, and we discussed this challenge extensively. What's going to happen to the economy in the future? What's going to happen to the jobs? Are we going to lose jobs? What is the role of universities in this digital transformation? These are all challenges facing us. But as much as they are challenges, they are opportunities. Because the time of uncertainty, yes, it is a challenge. There is instability, there are wars, there is economic problems and miseries, and there is poverty, but we all know that adversity is the best driver for creativity. So how can we use this adversity to drive our creative economy? On the other hand, digital transformation will definitely change the way we do business. Robots are going to replace few number of human jobs, especially those jobs that are repetitive, those jobs that are dealing with data acquisition and processing, because this is the computer or the robot is best at. But the robot is not creative. The robot needs the human by its side to be effective. And this is another opportunity for the creative sector to use the technology and robotics to be more productive. So these are drivers for the creative economy. We all know that the region, the Southern Mediterranean and the Western Balkan region, and here I'm referring to them as one region simply because they share a lot of factors, but overall they share the rich cultural heritage and creativity that we see in this region. People are very creative. People are creative simply because there was a lot of adversity in the past. They were not growing under very good, flexible conditions. They had to struggle, and the struggle here generated their creativity. How can we nurture this creativity into innovation and feed the economy? This is the question of today's panel, and we have chose for you an eminent group of leaders to tell us how can we nurture this creative potential in the Southern Mediterranean or the Western Balkan and help it to achieve the goals of the economic growth, and let's say inclusive economic growth and prosperity. So we will start with a message from the Secretary General of the OECD, Mr. Ángel Gurría, who wanted to be with us, but unfortunately the OECD has a very important event and he couldn't be here. We would like to start with his message.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to have the opportunity to address you at the start of the Ljubljana Creative Forum. Our cultural and creative industries play an increasingly important role in our economies, our societies, and our well-being. They contribute to job creation, economic growth, and more to intercultural understanding. The creative economy accounts for around 4% of employment in the European Union. Globally, cultural tourism represents 40% of world tourism, and it represents 10% of the world's GDP. Furthermore, we know that cultural institutions like museums can generate a wide range of benefits to both individuals and local communities. And art is particularly essential today in an era where technology is taking such a big part in our lives. In many places, creativity is a driving force for local economies, with creative skills on increasing demand across multiple sectors. What used to be a niche sector for experts is today relevant for health, education, innovation, you name it. Moreover, following the financial crisis, creative jobs have proven to be more resilient, less prone to be threatened by automation. Now, creativity is one of the best human assets. No machines can replace it without compromising its essence. However, creative industries also face considerable challenges. Workers are subject to more unpredictability and less job security. Creative SMEs, creative entrepreneurs, also face greater hurdles in accessing credit or startup support programs, as the concrete value of intangible work is often very difficult to demonstrate. To help tackle these challenges, the OECD is working to develop better policies and data to advise governments on what works. We recently joined forces with the International Council of Museums, the ICOM, to develop a guide for policymakers and museum managers on how to maximize the impact of culture on local development. And we're very proud of this cooperation, and we're very proud of this product. And we're also developing data on regional jobs, business dynamics in creative sectors, on the link between culture and well-being, and on government spending on culture. Last but not least, through the OECD's Future of Work, we're increasingly focusing on the importance of extending social protection to non-standard workers, and in particular, those in the gig economy, which includes workers in the cultural and creative industries. And we want to do more. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, A creative economy is the fuel of magnificence. This is a quote from American writer Ralph Waldo Emerson. He wrote it in 1857. Now, let me add that this is today more true than ever. So let's keep building and treasuring our cultural capital to promote a more inclusive, more sustainable growth, and greater integration among our nations. So I wish you a thought-provoking and fruitful creative forum. Thank you.
Very effective words by Mr. Gurría. And now we are going to move to a second speech. We were also supposed to have here with us Commissioner Mariya Gabriel. Unfortunately, she couldn't come. I think we all understand now that the Commission is passing through a period of transformation. She's Commissioner for the Digital Economy at the time being. She's going to take another portfolio starting from next month. But luckily, we have with us here Mr. Zoran Stančič, the head of the EU representation in Slovenia, who's going to read her speech. Mr. Stančič, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, honorable ministers, deputy minister, ladies and gentlemen. Let me once again pass sincere apologies of Commissioner Mariya Gabriel because she could not be here with us today. She has sent to you all her best and kindest regards, and she has asked me to read out her message to you. Europe's culture and creative sectors are the greatest soft power of Europe. From Jaguar cars to Calatrava buildings, from the Paris and Milan Fashion Weeks to the Frankfurt Book Fair, from the Cannes Film Festival to Scandinavian design, from the Van Gogh Museum to Louvre, from David Guetta to Armani. The list could be literally endless. The cultural and creative sectors are also an important part of our economy, responsible for 4.2% of European Union employing nearly 7 million Europeans in 2.5 million companies. These industries are all a vital part of our heritage, of our culture, and also of our future. They employ, entertain, and inform us at home and abroad. They are key to what European Union leaders recently proclaimed as the soft power they wish to project to the wider world. Just one example. The Western Balkans film scene has been thriving in recent years, reaching audiences across the world and winning awards at major festivals. The EU, through Creative Europe, supports the film industry in the region. Over 30 new films from the Western Balkans have so far been developed with the support from the media program of European Union, including the North Macedonian film God Exists, Her Name is Petunia, now a runner for the European Parliament Lux Prize. The culture and creative sectors also hold the power to reap the benefits of the digital revolution. We in the European Commission are therefore delighted to see that the Slovenian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Union of the Mediterranean are committed to address both the creative and cultural sectors and in the digital domain. Indeed, we believe that this is the right forum to provide an overall approach at regional level and to give coherence to individual initiatives. The European Commission presented the digital strategy for the Western Balkans last year. The agenda is a comprehensive and ambitious plan to improve people's daily lives. It aims at supporting the region to succeed their digital transformation. An important component of the agenda is the issue of reducing roaming tariffs. Partners in the region need to agree on how to reduce these tariffs within the region. There is already a number of regional roaming agreements, and the debate continues on how to extend its benefits to all citizens in the region. We are ready to discuss lowering roaming tariffs between the region and the European Union. We also see opportunities to cooperate on cybersecurity. Further cooperation would be possible through the implementation of the Directive on the Security of Network Information Systems, cooperation with the European Union Agency of Cybersecurity, as well as the network of centres of competencies. Another very important issue are the digital skills. We need to foster them and to encourage more schools to take part in the EU Code Week. It is also crucial to support innovation and digital entrepreneurship. We need startups, entrepreneurs, and academia to network and to cooperate. The digital and creative innovation hubs would help to make better use of expertise, innovation, and research excellence. All this fits in the EU digital single market strategy that opened up opportunities for people and businesses and enhanced Europe's position in the world in the digital domain. The digital single market has put the EU in the forefront of the development of a rule-based global digital economy. It brings solutions to a number of key issues that the world is facing in the digital age: how to build common markets, avoid fragmentations, and digital trade barriers. The changes through the digital single market and digital agenda for the Western Balkans now offer the opportunity to put our relations on a new footing, focusing on areas that could have biggest impact on where the EU has relevant experience and demonstrated expertise. The main topics that come to my mind are digital connectivity, digital economy, digital entrepreneurship, and innovation. Let me conclude by acknowledging how important it is for you in this region to demonstrate that you are ready to commit to a better future. You have a great contribution to make. I firmly believe that enhanced cooperation on creativity and digital is an enabler to help to achieve common objectives. These were the words of Commissioner Gabriel, and as it has been said initially by the moderator, we are in the Commission in the transition stage, and hopefully, as of 1st of December this year, we will have a new Commission in the office. However, on my humble role as a civil servant working for the Commission, I'm in a position to underline, in addition to what has Commissioner Gabriel already stated, that the new Commission, you will understand that Commissioner Gabriel in her current position was not able to elaborate on the future. However, the new Commission will maintain its commitment to work very closely with the Southern Mediterranean and the Western Balkans in this domain. This has already been very clearly stated by the President-elect in her statement in front of the Parliament in summer this year, when she presented her political agenda. So, ladies and gentlemen, also in my position as of representation here in Slovenia, I wish you all the best in your work. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stančič, and also we thank Commissioner Gabriel for her message. And I would like to underline from her message also this very important aspect of European diplomacy, which is the cultural, and I would like to add science diplomacy, as the soft power of Europe in the world. And we're very glad to hear from Mr. Stančič that the commitment to the region, to the Southern Mediterranean and Western Balkan region is continuing. And with the soft power of Europe, I think this is the only way that we can protect Europe's integrity and also the integrity of the Southern Mediterranean and Western Balkan. And I would like to quote here, before we move to our eminent speakers, the words of the Secretary General of the Union for the Mediterranean this morning when he said that the creative capital is the tool for, it's the building block, actually, as he said, for the region's integrity. And with the Commission, I think, can do a lot in also furthering this agenda of integration of the region. And again, I would like to underline, when I say the region here, it's the Southern Mediterranean and Western Balkan region, due to many reasons. I don't think I need to explain. They are here considered as one continuous region. Would like now to move to our eminent panelists. And I would like to start with Mr. Aleksandar Bogdanović, the Minister of Culture of Montenegro, to give him the floor for his speech. Excellency.
Thank you very much. Hello? Yes. Thank you very much, dear ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies. It's been a great pleasure to be here today to speak on this very interesting topic, because we are fooling creative economies, having in mind that all of these countries are very much committed for the creative industries, relatively new sector in Montenegro, relatively new public policy. And we have started a few months ago working on these very interesting projects, having in mind that in Montenegro, 4.5% of total GDP are given in creative industries. We heard from the introductory notes that on the world basis, 10% are made on creative industries. And of course, cultural tourism is something that is very important, and the government of Montenegro and Ministry of Culture is giving great efforts to contribute to the different artists in Montenegro in order to boost their innovative and aesthetic energy in order to provide those projects that will contribute and generate economy in total. I think it's very important that we are paying attention to support those artists that their works will be market-oriented on ICT technology, on product design and applied arts, and how we like to say we want to contribute to one Montenegrin creative product. In that regard, we had to start from the very beginning. We had to start of making a certain infrastructure, and we decided together with the artists that are being supported for the years in Montenegro to make certain creative hubs as the places in which they will work, create, and provide their time in order to meet with the different cultures and to be more linked with the different institutions. Why I'm saying this? Because we are planning in Montenegro 4 creative hubs during the course of next year. 2 of them will be on the south, 1 in the central part, and 1 on the north of the state. Because we want to provide them space in which they will work, not only the people from Montenegro, the artists from Montenegro, but we want to invite all our partners, all countries, to come there and on a residential basis to be present in Montenegro and to promote their cultures so that our institutions will be more and more linked with the institutions of the other countries. As I said, until the end of the year, we will have 1 creative hub in Bar. It's on the coast, but these 3 others are planned for the course of the next year. We had 1 public call where we had very generous funding, let's say for more than 30 of those ideas applied, but we supported 11th. And this is the reason why we are saying that creative industries are very good generator of boosting economy, because on this way we are contributing to the new working places. We are contributing, as we heard, on this intercultural dialogue, and what is very important, we are supporting artists because they are very much linked with entrepreneurship. In our case of Montenegro, we have supported those ideas in different sectors. As I said, for this first public call, we supported ICT, we supported design, we supported applied art. And we already have good results, because for these 11 designers who have created the products in Montenegro, we received 11 entrepreneurs who produce those products in Montenegro, and we now have 11 businesses in the field of culture. So those are the cultural industries that are giving now results, and of course on these examples we can see some of them. I will mention just two of those products who have received the best awards. It's a Big C award in Slovenia last month. One is given for the wooden boats that are produced by, you can see on those slides, that are produced by young entrepreneurs from Boca Bay. One maritime family, they merged, let's say, the experience that they have for the years in the tradition of their families. And they are working on this product. They are about to finalize this product, and as I'm saying, boosting a very aesthetic and enthusiastic, let's say, approach to this part of creative industries in shipbuilding and also architecture together, because they are combining Mediterranean and Montenegrin crafts in this regard, and we are having one very recognized product not only in Montenegro, but I can say in a whole region in Southeastern Europe. The other product which is very visible on our market is the product of very incorporated, let's say, smart benches in Montenegro. That's not something what is new on the Montenegrin market, but it's relatively new in the combination with the operating systems in Montenegro, because Deutsche Telekom has supported this idea. They are already now doing the retail, and they are recognized not only in Montenegro, but also in the whole Europe, now recognized in most of those countries in which we are working very tightly. So it's very important that we are supporting these products, that we are giving additional, let's say, incentive, not only to those 11 products, but for the second call that we have announced. So second call is now taking place, and we will switch to the gaming and fashion design, but it's very important that until that period of time we will have a certain infrastructure. So maybe next time we can invite you to come and to be the part of the conference in one of our creative hubs, because Creative Montenegro is already giving results. That's umbrella according to the national strategy. And recently we had one very good creative forum in Montenegro that will become next year more international. We will invite all the countries from the region, but I think that we have sent very good messages that we need to develop creative industries. Creative industries are very important for development of our economy, and as we mentioned, cultural tourism is something what is very important. What we are also doing, we are making a very good link with cultural heritage in order that those fortifications, those cultural assets that are not used now, that are devastated, we are putting them in a function and giving different kind of purposes in order to make them let's say more visible on the markets. And in those creative hubs to do different parts of those activities. I think that this is invitations for all the countries who are present on this panel, but not only on this panel, with all our partner countries to come to Montenegro on residential basis to be the part of those creative hubs. And I think that together we are stronger, and together we can develop more initiatives in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Bogdanović. I think these creative hubs are a very good, good practice that we could learn from, and probably I'm sure that the audience would like to have more questions about this later on. Also the cultural tourism in Montenegro being a very small country, but I think with cultural tourism you are really multiplying the impact of culture and a creative sector in Montenegro. This is, I think, one of the areas that we also would like to learn more about. And now we move to Minister Valdrin Ljuka, who is the Minister of Economic Development of Kosovo. Floor is yours, Excellency.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to start, when I was looking at the meaning of the flag today, of my badge, it was, this symbol means for boats, I require a flag, pilot. And then we were checking together with Valbona, the Deputy Minister of Culture of Albania, and the meaning of her flag was that I have a pilot on board. So really I want to use this as a nice coincidence, which means that here we are to help each other, complement each other, and use each other to learn from the best, so that we can multiply those success stories. And being in Slovenia, in Ljubljana, I think is the best case for the whole region, because there is plenty of things to learn, and then of course there is plenty of things to copy. I mean, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. If this creative center here, creative hub, is successful, why not try and make another one in Pristina or in Podgorica or anywhere else? Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues in the panel, dear creators, most importantly, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here and talk about this very important topic. Creative economy, I think, is playing an increasingly more important role nowadays, especially in the last decade or the last 10 years. With the introduction of social media, it made it much easier as well to see the creativity of crazy people that is out there around the world. Why I love the creative economy? It's for several reasons, especially in our region, especially in our part of the world, in Western Balkans. It increases competitiveness of the companies. I mean, having generic companies anymore is not very competitive, because let's say a foreign investor comes to the country, can create a new business, takes your workers, and then it's easy, can run out of the business all small companies in the country. But being unique through creativity, being unique through different designers, different artists, and creating synergies between the sectors creates also more sustainable growth, economic growth, and it's there to stay for a longer time. What's important also, that this is the sectors which include the youth. It's the biggest job generator for the young population, which is where the biggest unemployment is in place as well. So in Kosovo, we have 6% of the GDP is creative industries, which is quite impressive. Of course, the GDP is quite small, but still it gives us lots of space to grow. So another important factor about this is brain drain. We don't have this issue. The brain drain issue is quite a big challenge right now in Kosovo, but I guess in every other country as well, especially in industries which bigger developed world countries are required to have people. Just to give an example, only for the past 2 years, Germany has issued about 15,000 working visas to Kosovo citizens. That means getting your talent out of the country. And people go and work because they have better salary and better standards of living. But in these creative industries, these are all well-paid jobs, which means we don't see the problem of brain drain. People stay in the country, work in the country, get a better salary, and they serve for different companies, even abroad, or exporting products abroad. So this is the idea of interconnecting the creativity, arts, and then also different sectors of economy increases the value, which by increasing the value of the products means it's export-oriented, most likely, because our markets are small. When it is export-oriented, it means it improves the trade balance, so economic figures improve, increases employment, and then in the end increases the GDP of the country. So it has only multiple positive effects, and you cannot even find one negative effect. And this has to do mainly with creating niche markets, because we saw the beautiful case of Miss Fame from the jewelry. She did a great job in creating the luxury brand and exporting internationally now with her jewels. I mean, those are the stories that inspire us, and these are the stories which we want to see more often in our region as well. Of course, there are challenges. Usually, companies that do these kind of things are SMEs, small and medium enterprises, which are at higher risk because they have not a proper mechanism for access to finance. They are less, their markets are more volatile, so they are not able financially to be sustainable in case of there is market crisis or in case of they want to expand fast in new markets. So this is the importance of access to finance to exactly these sectors should be taken more carefully. I mean, in Kosovo's case, the best job has been done by donors. I mean, individuals, the whole creative sectors in the economy have been developed by individuals, by themselves, through their own initiatives, and then it has been supported a lot through donors, especially in the beginning. Now, of course, the government, seeing it as a good potential for the economy, for the GDP, is trying to do more mechanisms to support such initiatives. But again, in the beginning, it was all mostly donor-based as well. And another thing which is of highly of a challenge right now in Kosovo, for example, is linking education with the creative sectors and with other more simple sectors as well, so that we can work all this together to increase the value of production and then moving forward with increase of exports and all these things. The creative sectors, when you export successfully around the world, it has another indirect positive thing, which is country branding. It helps the country become a map of having nice, beautiful, well-designed products, which also increases this positive image for the whole country. What are we doing in Kosovo right now as a government? We have several initiatives at this moment. One very good project which we started this January is called Kosovo Digital Economy. Now the idea of Kosovo Digital Economy is to, first of all, expand the broadband, give access through fiber optics to every village in Kosovo with fiber optic, with high-speed internet. Kosovo right now is the most covered country in the region and one of the best in Europe with internet access. We have 93% of the territory covered with fiber optic cable. With this program, we want to go up to 97, 98% and being #1 in Europe. By this, the idea is that we provide villages with high-speed internet, and then the second part of the projects includes teleeducation, telemedicine, so basically helping them have access to education through online technologies. We saw also from Ms. Fahmy how important was her education in England, in UK. She spent a year in UK and she was able to come back and grow her business only after that. So the importance of education is critical, and that's why I think having a broader access to good education is very important to this. The second part, the component, which is one of the programs that I love the most, is that last year we initiated the program of creating creative hubs in high schools. Kosovo has 104 high schools. Last year we awarded 70 high schools, creative centers, basically all kind of crafting stuff, 3D printers and all kind of things, robots, so that the young people can get inspired at an earlier age so that they can become more creative in the future. Now we are piloting this year with 20 elementary schools as well, because we believe that the change in the mindset starts at a very early age. And this is a very insignificant investment when it comes to the potential impact that it can have in the future. So we are talking about an investment for each creative hub, an investment of about 30 to 50,000 euro, and you can do the math. So 100 hubs all around Kosovo. The challenge here has been so far how to train the teachers so that the teachers can do a good job in educating our younger generations. But of course, that is being handled by the private sector, which is the best one in doing that successfully. The other thing is assisting SMEs and NGOs with access to finance. So besides some programs with grants, a very good thing, a well-received thing has been creating the Credit Guarantee Fund. So the idea is not only giving grants, because grants very often discriminate companies and it can favor one company while it can disfavor the other by not giving a grant. But giving them access to financing through loans, which otherwise they would not be able to get, has been one of the best policies, I think, in giving access to these SMEs who don't have enough collateral to get a loan from a bank itself. So this Credit Guarantee Fund steps in and guarantees the collateral under the name of these SMEs. This has improved quite a lot because now the portfolio of this Credit Guarantee Fund for SMEs only is about 20 million euro, which is quite big compared to the economy of the country. The other program which we have started again this year through IPA funds from European Commission, it's a program in export support. Basically, we give all companies, SMEs mainly, in innovation and in technology and creativity sectors, experts, international experts, not local ones, depending from the need of the company. So the company says, I need one expert in architecture with this kind of inspiration of some culture. Then this fund can pay the expert, bring him, train their workers, and then go back. So the idea is to help increase capacities within companies to have their own people in this idea. Also, we have seen a good cooperation and an increased interest from our diaspora. Now, Kosovo is 1.7, 1.8 million people, but we have another 1 million people living in Europe, mainly Germany and Switzerland, but all around Europe. Germany and Switzerland is about 800,000 people. Now these people, a big part of them went quite early on in 1980s and 1990. Now they have been integrated fully and quite well educated. So by their education, they are coming back, investing, doing all kinds of things that they are trying again to bring back to the European market. So the idea is to use the lower cost country for exporting to economies where the prices are higher. These are the things that we have been doing. Of course, there is much more to be done. As I said, most of the success stories we have in place are individual or company-based initiatives, but we have been trying to support. We had one company last year which I was happy to assist because I knew the owner. It's a furniture production company. They got an arrangement with a very famous, globally known architect, designer from Iran. They are doing furniture similar as Ms. Fahmy from the jewelry that she has the inspiration and cultural roots of Egypt. They are doing similar furniture with inspiration of cultures of Iran, again, for the European Union market or for the European market. This is now in the phase of production and testing. It's going quite well, what I got information, but I cannot wait to look forward because a simple table like this can cost maybe 50 euro, but when you have a design in it, it costs about triple or quadruple that amount. So it increases the value, which means increases the value of exports and lots of other things. So there is plenty to be done here. What I love about this is that the creative people, the best thing about them is that they are more liberal. You don't look at the aspect of our past history, of our problems in the regional aspects. We know that we had lots of problems. But here I feel so good that you don't even think about problems. And that's why creative people are the ones who should lead in the future. Politicians still deal with the problems with neighborhoods and stuff like this, which really is time-consuming. It doesn't help anyone. But being here, it's more inspiring than ever. I think we have here possibility and potential to increase regional cooperation because that's the aim for us to work all together in the future. Again, thank you to all these creative people that are present here. I mean, creative people are crazy people because crazy people are the people who think they can change the world and in the end they change the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I think the crazy people liked your comments at the end. Thank you very much, Minister Ljuka, and thank you also for highlighting the importance of education, which is very important. We saw it this morning when Azza Fahmi was telling her inspiring story about how she spent all her salary on the first book that led her to the road to where she is now, and of course her year in the UK. Also, it's very important, one interesting thing you've mentioned about the importance of capitalizing on the diaspora of your people in other countries and kind of reversing this brain drain to brain circulation. So we would like to talk about it in the not in the negative connotation of brain drain, but rather how we can circulate these brains to benefit from them. We now move to Minister Khaled Al-Osaily, who is the Minister of the National Economy of Palestine, to also display some of the creative products from Palestine. And Minister Osaily, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, allow me first to extend on behalf of the government of the State of Palestine our sincere thanks to the government of Slovenia, and particularly His Excellency Foreign Minister Mr. Milo Cerar for inviting me to participate in this creative forum, Ljubljana. Our thanks goes as well to the co-organizers, the Union of the Mediterranean. Creativity in Palestine is considered as a tool and as a result of resilience. It is our way to challenge constraints, obstacles, discriminative policy imposed by the Israeli occupation to develop our economy. The creativity of the private sector has resulted in coming up with innovative ways to stay resilient, grow, and compete in the local, regional, and international markets. Innovation plays a very important role in the private sector in terms of competitiveness and is critical to the success of private businesses. Innovation and creativity help firms to find ways to cut costs, improve products, and open new markets. This has also been reflected on the public sector, where service delivery was optimized. I'm not claiming that the service delivery is at its best. However, our institution provides decent services to the public in order for the people and firms to stay resilient. This has resulted in a more collaborative efforts between the public and private entities, thereby creating better, effective public and private services and products. Collaborations helps to bring broader set of skills, talents, and more responsive work culture into public sector organizations. Along with the innovation, thinking, and creativity, it's also helped private companies to innovate more effectively and to achieve their concrete goals in a more efficient way. For example, collaboration in the industrial zones where the government provides incentives and developed infrastructure has led to encourage the private sector to innovate. And herein I will provide Palulia as a successful story example. The factory was a startup and the first to start at the Jericho Agro-Industry Park. Its first product, Palo leaf, was the first product that was manufactured at JEB. Only 2 years after that product was released, it won the most innovative products award for 2019 at the Malaysian International Halal Showcase. Palmolive won itself such as a global prestige because it's quite simply the world's very first all-natural supplement for diabetes. This achievement that was made in such record time is due to the incredible, highly talented and specialized team of researchers, scientists, chemists, engineers, pharmacists, along with state-of-the-art laboratories, manufacturing lines, and have all the appetite for innovation that drive Palmolive. This is an example of many industries that used to be traditional and became innovative through proven market presence, such as the stone industry. Creative industry preserve important aspects of Palestinian heritage and contribute to strengthening and stabilizing the Palestinian economy. The Palestinian cultural and creative industry has always had an important standing among the various domestic industry, in part due its role in the propagating the history and culture of Palestinian people. The Palestinian economy composes of more than 98% of the SMEs. Accordingly, the state of Palestine implied the concept of clusters, a proven methodology for the increased competitiveness of small and medium enterprises within a given value chain, which could present a tremendous opportunity for inclusive and sustainable industrial development and job creation in Palestine. It also contributes to inclusive growth of fostering entrepreneurial cooperation in cultural and creative industries. The main objectives of the cluster approach is to develop and present new collections, product development, increase sales in international markets and identification of new business opportunities in the contract sector, market diversification, increase cooperation between cluster members by leading a joint export activity, cluster development. The Bethlehem Treasures cluster and the furniture cluster in Nablus, footwear value chain in Hebron were selected as pilot initiative for the government approach, which will be extended to develop industrial cluster on the national level. Nablus Furniture Cluster, founded in 2015, it gathers over 25 companies with more than 200 active employees that are located in the furniture hub of Nablus. The industries include wooden furniture, upholstery, kitchen, contract sector, custom-made solution. The result achieved through this cluster, NFC company signed a business agreement targeting commercial and industrial cooperation with a leading furniture and decoration group in Amman. Business development of business opportunities and realization of business contract for the NFC and its members in local market. Bethlehem Treasurers Cluster, founded in 2015, the BTC gathers 30 producers, 75% crafts women, entrepreneurs, and handcraft decorations and souvenir that works and live in the area of Bethlehem. With approximately 1,000 workers, the cluster in Bethlehem is among the main employers in the region, and it's widely employing women, particularly in ceramics, pottery, jewelry, and embroidery. These industries include olive wood, mother of pearl, jewelry, ceramics, embroidery. Still, much needs to be done to develop the creative industry, which is an important component of the cultural and economic survival of the Palestinian people. The legislative reform is a must, and this is what we are currently doing. The companies law, the IPR law, and are under revising. Moreover, each ministry realized its role to encourage entrepreneurs and facilitate the procedures. Incentives were allocated to attract the younger generation and encourage them, especially in the IT sector. But the financial resources are a massive challenge for my government, especially within the latest Israeli violation regarding withholding the Palestinian tax revenue. But as I have mentioned, we are resilient and determined to enhance the performance of our economy. We believe that industry sustainability can only be achieved through a strong link and cooperation between local communities and the public and private sector. Also facilitating training and skill development, improving the quality to meet the international standards, participating at exhibition and marketing are vital components required for the success of culture and creative industry. We are currently working with UNIDO on Palestinian cluster and creative industry policy development, focusing on building national human and institutional capacity through stakeholders, training, coaching, SMEs development, and upgrading policy advice, market access, linkage, and access to finance. Palestinian government continues its support to enhance the ecosystem and boost creativity and innovation. This requires collaboration and networking among countries of the region on both private and public partners. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Khaled Al-Osaily. And actually, I would like to, there is one creative cultural product of Palestine that comes to my mind that has traveled worldwide. I don't know if anyone of the audience would guess what this is. It is exactly, it is the Palestinian scarf. I think a Palestinian scarf has traveled all over the world and has become a sign of resistance, actually. It is very much trendy to wear it, and there are other countries who are trying to reproduce different versions of this Palestinian scarf. I think this is a very good example of how a simple product can travel much more than its boundaries. Thank you very much, Minister Al-Osaily, and we move now from the national level to the international level with Ms. Aida Riđanović, who is the Euro-Mediterranean Forum Director for the Lindh Foundation. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for having me today. I enjoyed actually listening to your presentations, and as you said, I come from a little bit different world. I'm not a government, I'm not a decision maker, but actually I am your right hand, I'm your partner in decision making. So I will present Lindh Foundation and our work, and then I'm going to put that in a context of what we are discussing here today and why we are here, and actually why we have and why we need the forums such as Ljubljana Creative Forum. Lindh Foundation was created 15 years ago. And it's a network of 42 member states. Each member state, we have what we call a head of network, or the national network coordinator. And I'm very actually pleased that I'm sitting amongst all of you whose actually national networks are very, very, very active. Slovenia is one of our very close partners, and Slovenia National Network of Lindh Foundation is very active. It's contributing a lot in terms of capacity building, but then also in the programming area. Lindh Foundation, the full name, Lindh Foundation for Intercultural Dialogue, and this is exactly what we do. In today's world, the need for intercultural dialogue is needed more than ever. Last week was marked by the 30 years of the fall of the Berlin Wall, but then how many new walls have been built ever since? We all speak different languages, we all wear different clothes, but, what is eye-opening for, people like us when we, meet is the first thing when we, hear the song, we see the art piece, we see something and say like, oh my God, this looks exactly, the same like in my country, we have so many similarities. And this is what Lindh Foundation for Intercultural Dialogue is actually doing through, its 42 heavy member states, doing exactly that, actually focusing on our similarities, not differences. So what is a civil society? It occupies an important position in the development dialogue as it provides opportunities to bring communities together for collective action and mobilizing society to articulate demands and voice concerns at local, national, regional, and international level. We mentioned education, technology, digitalization today a lot, and actually I'm very happy then to report that the Lindh Foundation, especially the upcoming MENT Forum, are on the right track, merging all of those. When we're talking about the civil society, it is evolving in terms of what it is and what it does, in response to both technological developments and more nuanced changes within society. Speaking of the economy, again, I'm not the economist and we don't deal with those numbers, but there's an interesting data that this sector employs around 54 million full-time workers and has a global volunteer workforce of over 350 million. That's the power. And the motto of our upcoming Med Forum 2020 that is taking place in Šibenik from April 2nd through 5th next year, actually it is the power of community. So our work, as I said, across those 42 countries is an eye-opening for people who are joining our network for the first time. We work a lot with youth. We have our flagship program called Young Mediterranean Voices. And something remarkable happened in November last year. We were holding, actually it was the month of debates, national championships in 8 countries. And it was taking place in Palestine, Lebanon, Libya, Egypt, Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco. And as a result of discussion between those young people, policy recommendations were written and delivered to their governments, but also to the EU representatives in their countries. It was very, very powerful message from those young people, not from us, not from my generation, but from them. They took a stand, they participated. In Lebanon, when we went to Beirut, literally within 2 hours, a debate between young parliamentarians and young students took place, where basically they shared a stand for the motion and against the motion. For the motion, young parliamentarian, and young activist against the motion, young parliamentarian and young activist. Finally, they started to learn how it looks like to work together. There's still some misunderstandings about the civil societies. Civil society is what I like to call an extended right hand. And let's say an expert, a know-how for a government. And civil society and governments can only work in partnerships. Civil society and governments are there to exchange opinions and actually to work, hand in hand. Speaking about the future and digitalization, we're talking a lot about stereotypes, and there is an important report that Anna Lindh Foundation is producing every 3 years, and this is actually the Intercultural Trends Report. The next one is coming up in early 2020. Right now, the research and the survey is in the making, and basically the survey covers 13,000 people from 13 countries. And it provides a wealth of information about how we perceive, how we see each other, how we feel about each other. And what was really amazing is how much the media plays the role in how we perceive each other, how much the media actually supports and keeps building those stereotypes. So part of our job also is working and educating media in how to do that. But speaking of stereotypes and speaking of technology and the future, what is the future of civil society in terms of technology and digitalization? You mentioned the fourth industrial revolution. And there's actually one interesting thing that Klaus Schwab, he wrote in The Future Role of Civil Society, that he said, a renewed focus on the essential contribution of civil society to a resilient global system alongside government and business has emerged. So finally, the civil society is recognized as the future partner equivalent to the task. But if we are talking technology, artificial intelligence, where is ethical robotics in all of this? We as humans are making those programs. Right now as humans, we are building those stereotypes. Are we going to translate those stereotypes into the future technology and bring it into artificial intelligence? Or are we going to allow artificial intelligence to really create a new mind for all of us that will break down those stereotypes? I hope that I'm going to see a lot of you at the forum next year. I really see this forum as a catalyst. Something that will give us opportunity to continue this discussion, to continue this really important task of communicating through the culture, of engaging us, I really don't like this bottom-up, phrase, but unfortunately this is how it is these days. We need to keep educating each other. We need to keep talking to each other. But also we need to give ourselves a homework. When we meet, what's next? Let's not have just another gathering. Let's give ourselves a homework, and then let's meet again. When we meet for the next creative forum, what is that we are going to deliver? What is that we are going to collectively report on? After the forum 2020, when we meet in 2024, what achievements are we going to measure? So what is our joint commitment that we are going to make that is going to enhance our dialogue, that's going to enhance our cultural understanding, that is going to enhance our cultural cooperation? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Riđanović, for reminding us that culture recognizes no boundaries, and for the work of Anna Lindh as the main civil society organization in the Euro-Mediterranean region to bring people together to work in partnerships. And we had the pleasure and honor of working with Anna Lindh Foundation and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Slovenia at the Euro-Mediterranean University in organizing 2 conferences in 2016 and 2017 under the titles Translate for Dialogue, where we were working on how to enhance translation of the different languages and literature by different authors, particularly actually from the unusual direction from the south toward the north in 2016, and Educate for Dialogue, which is intercultural education for dialogue in 2017. Thank you very much. And now we come to, definitely last but not least, to Valbona Shujaku. Am I pronouncing it right? Shujaku? Who is the Deputy Minister of Culture in Albania.
Hello. I don't find it weird that you pronounce my name differently, because a lot of times people thought, especially in America, that I was Japanese, so it's okay. Yeah, Shujaku. I'm very happy to be here. Greetings to everybody, my colleagues, but also friends that I meet again from the cultural world. Actually, in the last period, the government of Albania has been invested itself through the motto of cultural heritage as motto for development, which entails investments in the cultural heritage, maintaining, preserving, because of the mission of the cultural monuments, but also due to the fact that there is so much interest to see the cultural heritage in Albania, and there was such a big boom of all the tourism and tourists coming to Albania that we needed to act fast to be able to preserve our cultural heritage. The other element is that the government, with its strategic partners, has invested in historical centers such as Korça, Gjirokastra, Olta, Gjirokastra, and Vlora, and other small villages, creating spaces for little businesses to attract buyers for their cultural little souvenirs or other culinary products that they produce in their small businesses. It also passed the law for cultural museum, which is considered to be one of the most revolutionary laws in Albania in regards to cultural heritage, because it brings a new form, new model of administering the cultural heritage. In one sense, it can give administration rights to the strategic partners to take care of and develop an archaeological park, but also the same what you're doing in Montenegro is utilizing existing cultural monument objects into creating them into creative hubs or other means of usage. Beside that, we've been working on drafting the national strategy for culture, which has taken a while until it got to the final document, and I'm glad to say that we're almost to the finish line, for which we had to have a lot of meetings with a lot of different interest groups to see what is really needed in the sector and what do we really need to do as a government to support the different groups in the cultural sector. One of these groups was the creative industry groups, my friends and my colleagues a while ago, which we had a very fiery conversation about, the government is not doing anything, we have to do this, we have the problem with the taxes, we pay this, we don't know how to solve this problem. And in the end, it was interesting because it came from them telling us that we actually don't know who we are. We don't know what creative industry in Albania is, and we don't know how big we are. So it came from them. They said, I think we should make a strategy first, strategy for how to develop the creative industry in Albania, but initially map it and then create it together. And this is exactly what is written in our strategic document. We have, beside the fact that we have identified all the needs that came out from all the meetings, interest groups, but also talks with different experts, we have planned for training, which are especially trainings for soft skills, different qualifications for technical administrative skills, also incentives, not only financial, but also incentives in kind incentives and other forms that will that are actually needed from the sector. Amendments to the law in arts and culture, it's what will be coming soon, which which brings forward the definition what is cultural heritage, but also incentives of what is really the government, what will the government be doing to incentivize this sector. The good news is that the creative people of Albania and the artists have not been waiting for the government to come and support them, and they've been doing their job and bringing their ideas to life. And one such, I'm going to mention some of the samples, and it's the case of Pezana, a furniture store, a furniture story, as she says it, a company led by a woman. I don't know if she's here now. She's there. And I met her in another conference for creative industry like 2 weeks ago, and I was impressed because beside the fact that she leads a company, creative industry, she uses recycled products to produce the furniture. She employs people with different disabilities and different abilities and helps them to support themselves and engage themselves in their life. Then is Bela Belinda, a fashion designer from Tirana, who is found her inspiration from the traditional folk wear, and she has actually made this outfit that I'm wearing today based on the traditional coat that men wear, but made it into a woman, which I believe is very interesting to bring forth our cultural heritage without being pushy and creating problems between ourselves. Nog by Nora is another one-person company, a mother of two with a daily job at a bank, who had the passion to become a fashion designer, create, and then finally she found the niche of designing very unique scarves, which she sells abroad online, and very good quality. But she says, the way that she told me, she says, I work at the bank and I can do anything to help you as a government, not me, but the government, to figure out what are the ways to actually support the creative industry without restraining each other. There's a small company in Gjirokastër, in the Old Town, which employs, where the husband and wife went to trainings in Greece and now produce jewelry from zero, and the earrings that I'm wearing are produced by them, and they have the entire family engaged in their business. The mother-in-law sells, and everybody comes to the store, and this is something that we would like to support in the future, and these are the models that we go and talk to in order to get the information that we need to build the policies that we have to have in the government of Albania. Lastly, but not least, it's the people like Sonila and Visi. I don't know if they are here or not, from the co-working space Destil in Tirana, who actually invest their time and their energy and their funds to create a space like this, where other creative people can come together, meet, network, but also engage their skills or get better skills that they need to produce their creative skills, to produce their creative products. We, the government, will be meeting with the creative industry group. We will be taking into account everything that comes from them to us, because this is the way that it works. This is the easiest way for a policy to work. And there's a long road in front of us, but we strongly believe that we are in a successful way. One thing that I think is very important to stress in this case is what I was telling my colleague from Montenegro. Once I read in a book that geniuses, back in the day, geniuses was not considered people, but some energy that was there in the house that waited for a person to be in a certain state of mind, for them to get inspired. So the genius had an idea which would come to a person when the person was in a right state of mind, and it was on the person to take this idea and to develop it, to make it real. So I think what meetings like this really do is bring all these geniuses that we have with us all along, bring together, energize us, and immediately we start meeting people and we start. I'm looking at Professor Milena. Yesterday we met at the airport, and for me it was a blessing because in our strategy there's one point that everybody's looking for, asking us to do something that we cannot do as a ministry, create MA program for arts and management program, but as I saw her, I said, okay, she has the know-how, and these are the things that are requested in our country, so how can we collaborate so that we can make it? She has the know-how, and I have the means to go around and make it real. So I think that forums like this are really, really important for us to meet, to exchange the geniuses, but also, yes, very important to follow up and to put the goal of what are we going to report when we come back. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shujaku and Shujaku. And when we asked the distinguished panelists to bring with them one creative product, we didn't expect that you will come wearing it. But I have to tell you, it's a very nice outfit. And thank you very much also, and the jewelry and the earrings. And I would like to also thank you for displaying a different kind of product, which is it is as important, if not more, which is the legislations. The the law for cultural museums and the national strategy for culture, and also the process of developing the strategy with this creative industry group. I think these are also very good examples of we cannot create products in void, so we have to provide the conducive environment, or enabling environment, by providing the right legislations and laws for it. I don't know if I have 10 minutes or not. I do have 10 minutes? Can we have 10 minutes? Or? Yeah? The boss said yes. So, because really we had some very interesting presentations, and I would not like to miss the opportunity also of having some engagement from the audience on these presentations. So I will ask you, we don't have a lot of time. We have more or less 10 minutes because Minister Bogdanović has to actually very quickly hit the road, and he has a long drive in front of him and another obligation in Belgrade. So we understand that. And also you have to have only 50 minutes for lunch. So if there are any questions, quickly please introduce yourself and your question. And then we will have a very quick round, hopefully, to answer them. So, okay, do we have someone? Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Marlen Bakali. I work for UNIDO. I had a question for the panelists, since they are at ministerial level. Some of you talked about creative economy, especially the minister from Kosovo. Mr. Bogdanović talked more about creative industries. The other panelists talked about creative industries. These are two separate concepts. So my question is, which type of policy are you pursuing to develop further creativity in your countries, and what type of indicators, or how do you think those indicators would apply to either a creative economy or a creative industry, knowing that the definitions are quite broad and there is not clear consensus, even though in those countries that have clear policies in creative economies or creative industries? Thank you.
Thank you. Another question? Yes, could you raise your hand? Okay. Please, over there, Dunya.
Dear guests, thank you very much for your presentations. I think all of them, they were very impressive. You're doing a great job in your countries. But yesterday, with creative entrepreneurs, we have discussed regional cooperation and regional integration. And my question goes in the direction of regional integration. Are you open for it? And how would you support it? Thank you.
Okay, and another one here in front.
Thank you. I'll be quick because, yes, we are standing between you and lunch, so that's always dangerous. I'm Dragan Barbutovski. I'm country director for British Council here in Slovenia. So, yes, thanks for your presentation. It was very impressive. But since we are in a policy forum, I just have one appeal, one recommendation. Ms. Riđanović talked a lot about the impact, and that impact that creative industries or creative economy has, and it all boils down to communities, to society. And so, yes, we can talk about the impact that we have on creativity, because one creative idea can stimulate other creative ideas. We can talk about economic impact as well, but also we should talk about social impact of communities, and the creative economy, the creative industry is the one that's probably the best place to face the challenges, dealing with, for example, vulnerable groups. So my appeal is that when you are designing new instruments, they have to be adapted to the creative industry, to the creative and cultural sector, because it is a little bit special, so it needs a special attention, because at the end of the day, they're the best place to deal with some of the social issues that we also deal, and then, as a society, we all can actually gain if we just give them a little bit special attention and we adapt instruments and other measures that are very much focused on them. Thank you.
We can take one last one. Okay. Okay. Here.
Hello, thank you for the presentations. I wanted to ask my deputy minister. I'm from Albania, and I want to make a direct questions. We have a protest for 2 years going on for national theater, and what is your feeling and what is your response that our national theater is protected, is one of 14 sites that is protected from Europa Nostra, and the Minister of Culture doesn't do anything, even though it was a cultural monument before and now it's nothing.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, the real last one. There. Could you raise your hand so that they can see you with the mic? Another.
Me
okay.
or no, it's
okay,
fine.
Quickly,
okay.
Please. Quickly.
I was mentioned from our deputy minister. Thank you very much for mentioning me. When we met together the first time, I told you that it's a little bit dangerous to work with creative entrepreneurs. So you mentioned several issues that, as far as I know, we are 6 people from Albania, and none of us has been in the tables that you have organized when it comes to creative industry, but you mentioned most of us. So I think this is not fair. I am still saying that I appreciate the fact that you mentioned me, but I don't appreciate it in the other direction. The fact that you mention us as good examples everywhere, but meanwhile you don't take us as people who can give and say what is happening in our country. In fact, from this debate, I really feel a little bit shocked because I can see the progress of other countries and I know the power of creative people in Albania. It's not true that we don't know what we need. We know it, and we know it quite well, but nobody's asking about our opinion. Even when we give our opinion, nobody takes it. And this, when it comes for social enterprises, that is my field, nobody asked me. I have talked to the ministry, and
I have to cut you here in the interest of time.
I think this is very important.
Excuse me, may you just hear me?
Yes,
in the interest of time,
yes.
And since we have 5 eminent speakers here, you can maybe discuss this with the Deputy Minister later on.
But what is important here is to be honest.
Very
and
good.
I can feel that there is
I gave you time to make your point. I didn't cut you from the beginning, right?
Okay, thank you.
So you have also to agree on this. And the last question here, I hope it's not about Albania, is it? Okay.
Sorry?
You are only 6, but you are quite dominant.
Okay. The question again about Albania. No, kidding. It's Tunisia. So I appreciate your also your initiative. I would like just to mention that the instrument to finance the creative industry that you are deploying sometimes doesn't match with the current need in the southern part. Because when we say creative industry, it's not just spontaneous art of work, but it should cover the training part, the creation, the production, and the fusion. And in our country, we have huge lack of those equipment and space, dedicated space to make creative project. But the instrument that's financing the project don't accept to cover what is missing in our countries. So if you can take this in consideration, that can make big change.
Thank you very much for all your questions. And now we will give the floor to our eminent speakers to wrap up or conclude. And I would like to suggest, if I may, I never do this with such a high-profile panel, but since you made it feel very easily and you're all very modest, and we have a lot of crazy people also on the floor, as said before, we would like to wrap up with 5 words, not more. It is difficult. It's a challenge because there were questions. I'm sure we will start with you, by the way. And since there were questions, but maybe we choose a question which we would like to answer, but try to make it in 5 words because we have to go to lunch.
Okay. So I believe that the presentation that I had was quite honest to say that the creative industry in Albania needs to be built at the government level, and that the companies working did not wait for us to develop. They've been developing ideas, they've been doing their own thing, and now we have to meet and see what more can we do to develop it. The meetings, sorry, this is more than 5 words. The meetings to build the strategy has started last year, and they are ongoing. The draft document will be online, or is online, should be online now, and you can read it. And if you have comments, any comments, you can send it back. But so far, from the public hearings that we have had, and the meeting that we had with the donors yesterday, with the ambassadors yesterday, said that it's well written, well thought of document, presentation of a document, and of course we will take in account everything that is suggested. It's mainly we want to go in the same way. We are not against each other. We want to develop the same creative industry. So let's work together and not fight.
Thank you. Please.
Yeah. So, as I said, the motto of Euromed Forum 2020 is the power of community. So now just imagine the power of exchange via platform that unites 42 countries.
Thank you. Mr. Osaily.
The 5 minutes is over, the 10 minutes is over. Anyway, creativity in Palestine is the result of the suffering from occupation. I wish we will have the freedom and to get rid of the occupation, and I think we can do a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Creative industries, of course, pertain or related to sector level, but the creative economy in a broader aspects is a result also of the creative industries and sectors that come to it. In terms of regional integration, I mentioned it, that is very, very important in order for all of us to benefit from creative economies and industries. Just to mention in a few seconds, we are in a process together with GIZ, who is also supporting this event, to create a regional innovation and training park. This is a very big park which used to be a military base. Now it's transformed to an innovation hub, where the idea is to bring all innovators from the whole region. I've invited the presidents of chambers of commerce of every country in Western Balkans. They were there present, and they love the idea of working together as a region to create one innovation hub, which is located in Prizren in Kosovo, which is a cultural, historic city as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very shortly, but I think I was creative today by saving your time, because I thought it's limited up to 5 minutes. So I would speak much more, but just very briefly, I think that we are doing a good thing to map and help all these authors, all these subjects, the way they perceive the art market, how they should change this area of establishment of their workspace. And in that kind, we are providing this through the creative hubs. What we need strongly, we need international dimension. And I think that all these countries needs to be more tightly linked through different fundings, through the fundings within the culture. Europe for Citizens, Creative Europe are giving our possibilities to get in common more tightly and to support these projects and to broach some new initiatives. I think that as a main generator to the economy, we can do a lot through the creative industries and creative economies, of course, and with concrete results. I will just mention one, sorry, because I mentioned two products, I will mention one more. Having in mind that Montenegro is a very attractive touristic destination, we are also becoming a film destination by one product from the creative industries. It's VR technology through the locations countings, where we made very attractive locations and presenting them outside Montenegro, where all those producers and co-producers are coming, and by these very beautiful spots, they are urging to make movies in Montenegro and to develop cinematography sector. I think we can do a lot of more with additional initiatives. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. At the end of the session, I would like to thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Slovenia and the Union for the Mediterranean, the GIZ, for supporting and organizing this event. I would also like to thank the Polygon for hosting us. I think it's quite an inspiring space here. Thank all of all the audience and the young and creative artists around us, and of course thank our eminent speakers and panelists very much. Minister Bogdanović, Minister Ljuka, Minister Al-Osaily, Ms. Riđanović, and Ms. Shujaku. Thanks, and I wish you all an inspiring continuation of this very nice session. Thank you.
Thanks to the panelists, ministers. Since we are just before the lunch break, we have a thematic present for you. It's a present that links design, gastronomy, sustainability, and by the way, in the year 21, Slovenia will be the European gastronomic region. So this is a kind of preview. Thank you.